show, but maybe evening for you guys. I don't know where you are around the world. If you guys can see this, please let me know in the comment section. And if you're new to the channel, I've been traveling full time for a few years now, and I talk about random things regarding travel, relationships, and anything in between. Um, I'm gonna just this new format's weird. It never really shows you if you're online until like 2 or 3 minutes later. So I don't want to do this unless I know I'm live. So give me a second to confirm that. Oh, I am live. There I is. Okay, cool. Um, and as always, this is a live stream based on my previous video, right? So the last video I did was between Basil, a gentleman that's in the Philippines with a fiance that's 44 years younger than him. And we're going to talk about large age gaps in the Philippines. Now, please keep in mind that your opinion is your own, and I'm not here to judge anybody. I don't care personally. It doesn't bother me in any way, as long as people are adults and they're consensual, and who am I to judge? But we'll get into some pros and cons and why I'm talking about this topic, as well as the fact that it happens, especially in Asia. You're going to see a lot of older guys with younger women. And yeah, that's just a normal cultural, it's accepted. And we'll talk about some of the factors, some of the reasons, all these things that we may have touched based on in previous videos or live streams. And it's nothing new, right? So, as always, this is an open discussion. Feel free to ask your questions, and we'll slowly get into all this. Alfred Cluse is here. Hi. Hello, Alfred. Joey's also here. You are? I am. Yes, I am live. Thank you so much. And we have M's educational channel and personal blog. Hi, Alex. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, Michael John's here. Hello, brother. Hello. And Philip Massey. Some of our usual. Thank you guys for being here. Let's get this going on a positive note. Please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And let me have a sip of my water because I just woke up. Honestly, I had my coffee. I am not a morning person. I've tried so hard. No matter how much sleep I get, I have like it takes me a long time to wake up. So I don't know if it's a medical condition. I don't think so. I don't think it's laziness either because I try to be active. Just not a morning person. I like to think it has to do with the years of me working overnights at a casino. So maybe that's part of it. But either way, bear with me as I gain some energy throughout this live stream, and then we'll just kind of kick it into the whole topic. My transition to the Philippines. Good morning. Good morning. Um, if you're in the Philippines or anywhere in Asia, basically, and Latin America and Eastern Europe, you'll see a lot of relationships with older men and younger women, right? So you'll see them, just walking around, holding hands in restaurants, and it's a romantic relationship because you have eyes and you're an adult and you can tell. So in the West, culturally, I think within like 5 years it's considered okay. Anything more than that, it's like a large age gap. In Asia, there really isn't like an age limit as far as like what is considered too much of an age gap, right? So I think the fact that I don't know, probably parts of it's because of history, because maybe younger people got married earlier with older men for finances, for getting out of poverty, for better and greener pastures. All these things are factors, and there's no denying it, right? But it doesn't mean actually I'm gonna save my own like thoughts on it till the end. But the point is you'll see these relationships, right? And it's considered very normal here. So to most Western people, when they see it, the first initial reaction might be like, "Oh, brother, what's that?" I'm just kidding. But like, it's like once you come here and you see it, you realize it's not a big deal. And a lot of people are in a big age gap relationship. And a lot of the successful ones are at least 15, 20, or even bigger gaps between them because I think it just works for them, right? And coming from the West and being a younger person, you might never consider that kind of age gap relationship. But over here, it works. And it's beneficial for both parties, right? So the man gets what they want as far as a young, beautiful wife, and the woman gets some financial, just naturally assistance and in a better living condition in most cases. But so let me get into some pros and cons. But first, let me go ahead and read some of the comments, and then we'll get into it. Um, Philip Massey, ¿cómo está? ¿Cómo está, my man? Okay. David Hancock's also here. Hi, David. Um, Timothy from St. Cloud, Minnesota. Welcome to the live stream, Timothy. Michael John said it would be awesome if our paths cross. I'll arrive in April, brother. Definitely, Michael John. Let me know, okay? David Hancock. I'm 63. My wife is 28. There you go. She's a blessing from God. Seriously. There you go. Or 35-year age gap, and they're happy. So, and that's one thing we have to realize in large age gap relationships. If people are happy, then they're happy, right? So, and I mean that's what we all want at the end of the day. Uh, I mean, it's very rare to find a perfect partner. There's always going to be some kind of like, I don't know, I'm gonna say difficulty, or nobody's perfect, right? So if age is one of those things where it's not perfect for these people, then that's within themselves and their families and their relationships, right? Um, Hi from Texas says 944 muscle. And Pepe, hi Alex, what is it for you, the age gap limit? 10 years still okay? In Europe and Italy, people max 0 to 5 years, accept, I think. Yeah, as I mentioned, so in Western countries, age gap doesn't exist too much. I think mainly because the women are usually much more financially independent. So when they don't need a man's money, I'm sorry for the older guys that are watching this. Like, I'm not trying to offend you, but this is a general case. I'm talking about overall. It's obviously a monetary thing, right? It's because typically no 20-year-old is going to be interested in a 65-year-old, like off the bat. Like they won't go out online or in person and look at a 65-year-old and say, "Oh, I want to be with this guy romantically." Right? Now, does romance grow over time? Sure, of course. Does love grow naturally? And will they be romantically involved? It could happen, of course. But I'm saying right off the bat, you want to usually tend to stick with people your own age. It's just because the people you surround yourself with, right? Say you go into classes, you go to work, you're just a group of friends you grew up with in high school and college and all these things. So I think in the West, people are generally within that 5 year range because money is not a factor for them, right? Usually it's because women are already independent, they don't need a man's money as much. So I think it all stems and roots from women wanting better futures, right? So, and usually an older man is established, they're mature, they have finances together. And so it all makes sense from both parties, right? So I think that's probably why it happens so often here in Asia. Hi from Texas. Did I read that? I think I did. M's educational channel and personal blog says age just a matter of matters of it. What? Let me read that again. Age just matters. Oh, if you matters of it. I knew some common friends that with big age gap. She's 26 and the guy's 52, and they're happily married. Yeah, I think I've never really heard of negative sides of a large age gap. At least nobody says it. Usually, when you hear stories of large age gaps, it's more positive stories, really happy relationships, good things that are happening for both parties. It's really, I don't know, maybe people don't share as many negative stories when it comes to big age gap. Now, of course, bad relationships are everywhere, right? I think like people get divorced naturally or whatever in any age gap situation. So I'm not sure if that age gap has a lot to do with the divorce rate or the breakup part of it. I'm sure there are challenges like any other relationship, but I think I've heard more positive than negative stories specific to age gap. Tiago Ramos says thoughts on Filipinas. I think you guys know my thoughts by now, right? I've made several dozens of videos. I think Filipinos are, I mean, it depends though, right? It really depends on what kind of Filipina are you looking for. I think meeting Filipinos online is going to be very drastically different than meeting a Filipina organically through meetups and activities and, library or going to a bookstore or something like that. So it's usually a big difference in between those type of women. Now, that's not to say you're not going to meet a good Filipino online, but I think overall experience, you find that the general public that's not online dating, or at least that you meet them through public avenues, are just superb in my opinion. Like, I mean, they're just friendly, caring, obviously attractive. They have there's this femininity they have still within themselves. They're very family oriented. Some of them are like traditional. They believe in God. Like, you wouldn't be when I do these street interviews, the number of women that say when I ask them, actually, I'm going to release a video soon about what women want as far as what Filipino want in a man, and a, an answer that surprised me a lot is how many women actually say, "I want a God-fearing man." So if I were to do that in the U.S. or Canada, I guarantee you, from like, unless I go to a really religious city or something, out of hundreds of videos, I guarantee nobody would say they're looking for a God-fearing man. So women over here still prioritize traditional values and morals and all that, at least on the surface level. I don't really know people obviously in person beyond the camera within the first 10 seconds, but it's just refreshing to see that traditional values tend to still be around in the Philippines. That's just my kind of a quick summary of women overall in the Philippines. Michael John says, just numbers, brother. Yeah, I mean, age gap, you can look at it just some numbers. It's really not deal breaker for many people. Pepe said, I had a girl 24 and me 40, but she was just into parties and drinking. Many young girls could be more immature, depends as well on the girl, but too young, I wouldn't like. Yeah, so in Pepe's case, the 24-year-old wasn't quite mature yet, and she was still living her life, finding herself, and it was not compatible with what Pepe was looking for. Now, there are some 24-year-olds that are very mature. They already have kids, and they already are settled down. They already, you know, are working, have careers, or just know what they want in life, right? So, and once again, people are on their own path, right? People find things at a different stage than everybody else, right? For example, when I was 16, I was already living by myself. I had a car and I've been to plenty of clubs and parties and all that. So even at 16, but somebody, let's say, that went to school and was focused on studies and, doing the work and whatever, might not get a chance to go out and enjoy themselves by 20, 25, 23, or whatever the number is, right? So we're all in like different trajectories of our lives. All right, so we got 90 people watching this. Hit that like button. It just takes a second, so hopefully other people can find this video on YouTube as we stream. Hit the little, I think it's the three. Let me just see how exactly do we make a like on these live streams. So yeah, that's what it is. Click on the little three dots on the right hand corner, and there's a thumbs up button. Press that if you're enjoying this, and then we'll get going. Actually, we'll get going right now. So let me go ahead and start with the pros and cons of, because these streams usually last an hour, maybe two sometimes. So we got a long way to go, but I hope you guys are enjoying this. So one pro of a large age gap is diverse perspectives, right? So different life experiences can bring fresh perspectives to relationships. Of course, right? When you have someone that's 65 years old dating a 25-year-old, the 65-year-old has a very different perspective on life, and they can bring that to the relationship, and they could actually make the woman see something that they would not necessarily see on their own, right? So, for example, maybe the guy is well traveled and seen many different cultures, and somebody that's 25 says, "Hey, look at the way these people are doing something. Isn't that weird?" And that guy can be like, "Actually, no, this is the way they do things. I've been to Vietnam, let's say, and that's how they eat food. Oh, okay, cool." So it's like you can bring very diverse perspectives to a relationship, which is a good positive thing. That's number one. Michael John says, as long as there is a clear understanding, transparency, clear communication, then that's all. Then it's all good. Yeah, exactly. So I think communication is a very big part of any relationship, and it's the same thing with a large age gap relationship, right? So as long as you're communicating your wants, your needs, your requirements, your standards, your red, like everything. There's like your barriers, your boundaries, all these things. Especially with someone with a larger age gap, I think it makes a big difference. David Hancock says, my wife is Filipina, but we live in Australia. My wife is wonderful. We have both enriched each other's lives immeasurably. Whoa, it's a big word. 35-year age gap. Wow, no big deal for us. Yeah, there you go. Like I said, many positive stories. Of course, who was it? Pepe, was it? No. Yeah, it was Pepe that had a problem with his 24-year-old. But, like I said, more positive than negative. And even if there are negative ones, so just like any other relationship, there are negative experiences, if there's zero age gap, right? So it's hard to pinpoint the age gap being the issue sometimes. Prancer says, if you stay in the same decade, within 5 years, you have more income to relate, and so on. Yeah, in those senses, I think when you're the closer the age gap, you're probably more relatable to the person, just on every level. We're gonna get to some of those points right now. Rice's life says, people that have a good life got nothing to cry about. You won't see them on YouTube crying. Another great point, right? So that's true. A lot of times we don't see and hear all the happy stories, because they're happy. They don't need to be on YouTube telling other people how happy they are. Usually, you hear the negative side, the bad stories, the scams, all the like. Is an avenue to vent someone's feelings and experiences. You need to connect with someone so they can feel and you know you want to share these things. So usually, just the way social media is, you hear more negatives when it comes to stuff like this. Okay, Billy is here. What do you see common age difference from your interviews? 10 to 20? I think probably even larger, to be honest. I would say probably 15 to 20, 15 to 40, maybe even 15 to 25. But 10-year age gap is actually very close in the Philippines. 10 years is not really an age gap in the Philippines. As long as, like, I mean, if we're speaking about foreigners and Filipino relationships, 10 years is really not that big of an age gap. Usually it's a lot larger, right? So the biggest one I've seen was 50 years. So that's a big age gap, 75 and 25. But they seemed happy. The gentleman knew exactly his position in a relationship. He was fine with it. They had a great agreement. It worked for them, all that stuff. So I think probably 15 or larger age would be an average. David Hancock and his wife, who is Filipina, 35-year age gap, says, "We were introduced by Australian Filipino friends. She was living in the Philippines. I went over after COVID, been together ever since. We are both practicing Catholics." That's another thing, right? So let's talk about religion a little bit, because a large portion of the country is still really devoted to Catholics or Christians. I'm not really sure the specifics, but they do follow Christ. And um, if you're a person that believes in that religion, you can have like a pool of women to choose from. I think a lot of countries these days, although maybe they're a Christian or Catholic country, you won't find as many practicing people, let's say, right? So especially the younger generation, they just are atheists or whatever they believe in. It's not really, you know, they're not very religious. But in the Philippines, you have a lot more people who are. So if that's something that's very important to you, you can find that in the Philippines. M's educational channel says, as a Filipino, I do prefer older men. For me, it could be half of his age. It's fine as long as we commonly understand both, especially have respect each other and God fearing man. That's a plus. There you go. So another God fearing thing. Teddy Johnson says, can you live in? Teddy Johnson says, can you live off $1,000 a month? I want to go on vacation. Yes, you can definitely live off 1,000 a month in the Philippines. Um, the budget in the Philippines is like your budget anywhere. You can spend as much money as you want. It's not like, it's just like any other country. You want to come here, splurge, do whatever you want. The sky's the limit. But 1,000 is more than enough. Even if you spend $500 on your rent a month, you still have 500. That's like over 25,000 pesos. Pretty much a thousand peso a day to live comfortably, and your food might be like 200 pesos a meal. So yeah, you can live off $1,000 if you're single. If you're not like really living lavishly, of course. Pepe says traditional values, yes, but why so many scams or take advantage of men's money? Where's God when? Uh, Let me read that again. Pepe says traditional values, yes, but why so many scams or take advantage of men money? Where is God then for you as they declare themselves religious and believer? Lies and lies. Okay, so let's talk about that. Yeah, of course there's scams, but who is scamming who? At the end of the day, a man is still has full control over his money. If you're sending money to somebody you never met, I'm gonna say that's a you problem, Pepe. Don't send money to people you never met, despite their sob stories. Despite, like, by now we should all know that women are online trying to take advantage of men the same way as any other country, right? So it's just, and let's say online you talk to 100 women and 100 women want to take your money, but how big is the Philippines? How many women are not online? How many women are actually in churches and working and not wasting their time on an international dating site, right? So naturally the people that are online are like pretty much the bottom of the barrel kind of people. Like, let's be, for us men and Western men, we have no choice but to be online. Most of us are not in that country to physically speak to people, first of all. Secondly, we might be new to the city somewhere we're living, right? So we have no friends, we have no network of people, right? So there's reason why a man is online in the Philippines. But for women, there really shouldn't be that many reasons, right? So when you consider those facts, then you start to see why some of these women try to scam you. Because, like I said, a good woman don't need to be online. They're already happy with or interested in them if they're not already in relationships. So you already you're comparing some of the worst basically people in the Philippines compared to the whole country. Yeah, they shouldn't do it. And of course, not everybody's a Christian and not every Christian's a good person, right? Like, so there's a lot of factors that go into it. I agree, a lot of scams happen online. That's why I'm not on online dating site. That's why I don't even entertain the idea or whatever, right? So, but because I'm physically there, for example, but not a lot of guys are. But that's why it comes down to your own due diligence. Don't send money to anybody you never met. Like if you've not met the person, I don't care if you've been talking for a year or two. If you don't feel like she's being genuine, I would never send money. Like that's just me though. But some guys, they're never gonna go to the Philippines. They're okay sending $50, $100 a month just to have someone to talk to. As they see it as an investment, as entertainment, as just a way of feeling good, mental health improvement or emotional improvement, whatever that is. It's not my place to say. I'm not these people, right? But it is still comes down to you, Pepe. Do not send money to somebody you never met. Maria Army Fuente says, I'm old now, 64. How still can? You still can, my man. 64 is a young man's age in the Philippines. Philippine expat prepper. Hi, 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 hi. Victor Marshall says, yeah, it works out well most of the time. My friend's 50 and his wife is 30. They seem similar enough in interest. He's into music, so she loves what he introduces. Yeah, I guess he introduces the new music. Yeah, why not? So that's great. Let's go ahead and read a con from a large age gap. Um, so a negative side of a big age gap is generational differences, obviously. So significant difference in cultural and references, values, lifestyles may lead into conflict. Of course, somebody that grew up in the 80s, 90s, and even early 2000s is going to have a very different kind of understanding of culture and generation to someone that was born in the 2000s, right? Someone, this is a very big gap when you consider like different generations, right? And you know, sometimes when you grew up without the internet, you had this need to go out and explore and do all these things. Whereas a younger person may be completely fine sitting at home on TikTok all day, right? So that could be a negative, the generational gap and differences, right? So that's one negative thing of a big age gap. Philippine expat prepper says 10 years age gap, married for 18 years, all good. Excellent. There you go. Uh, LVTV says, as long as these grandpas and huge age gap relationships allow me to date the 18-year-old granddaughters, it's all fair game. I guess. Yeah, I mean, if it's legal, and I'm saying like, if the law says it's okay to do it, if the girl herself says it's fine, her family, her friends, even society in the Philippines accepts these relationships, then I think we, regardless of how we feel about it, would have to accept the fact that it's okay in the Philippines. You know what I mean? Like, and if we don't, then it's just that's our beliefs, and there's nothing wrong with it. If you're not okay with a large age gap, then you yourself don't get into a relationship with a large age gap. And I think as you grow older, naturally you're more open to it. As a man, at least, as a woman, same thing. But you don't usually see older women dating younger men with that huge of an age gap. At least not normally. I'm sure there are some, but you don't see them around walking around. Uh, Durandi Mello says this country is very much expensive for what if has. Let me read that again. Durandi says this country is very much expensive for what it has to offer compared to Thailand or Malaysia. In some ways, yeah, the Philippines. I'm very surprised that the Philippines is expensive in comparison to Thailand and Malaysia, but that can just be simply the market decides the value, right? So people are paying for it, therefore they keep having these prices and raising them, and you still see restaurants and places, malls packed with people. So the money is coming from somewhere, and as long as people keep paying for it, those prices are dictated by the consumer, right? So, and I think a big part of it has to do with like obviously OFW sending money back home, foreign men sending money to their women, and logistically speaking, getting like obviously if you have to, the middlemen, there are too many of them, right? So the import person, then you have the taxes, the authority of the port, and the truck driver, the boat driver, the trike driver that bring all the. So every single person has a hand in that cost, right? And I think because they're not really a landlocked country, so many different islands, that obviously affects the the prices. I don't think it's the only reason, but I'm sure it contributes a little bit to why the prices are higher. I don't know. I'm surprised as well. Maria says, "¿Cómo está acá? ¿Cómo está acá? Hi, life with Nabli. Nabil, sorry. Life with Nabil is here. Um, Inacio, hi. Pepe says, how do you compete nowadays in Southeast Asian countries as Philippines or Thai, where girls are full of men constantly trying with them? And older have money, money, money. So we're in a deal for us younger. Yeah, so here's the truth of the matter. That's a very good point. If you are between 25 and 35 as a man, you're probably the worst range when it comes to having options. As far as, okay, so, how can I talk about this? So, this is for online women. This is why it's true in this case. Women that are online will prefer older men because they send them money and they most likely are not in the country. Younger men don't have money, so they're kind of they don't look at them so much. So if I'm a woman in the Philippines or Thailand, let's just compare those two countries. And if I see somebody's under 25, I don't look at them as a mature man. Oh, they're not old enough. They probably don't have money. So I probably wouldn't consider them, right? And somebody that's older is, yeah, this is my target because they have money. They might even die soon. I know that's a thing in these countries. Some women would date men who are close to death just because they want their money after they pass away. So actually, older men are preferred in that kind of sense. And they have money and they want to spend it. And they might be even on an allowance without ever meeting that person abroad. But a 35-year-old guy like myself, let's say, that's already in the city, that's willing to meet, they have no interest in because I might want to actually physically meet them. They have to put in the work, they have to put in the effort, they have to meet me, and they know I'm not going to pay for them because I don't need to at this stage in my life, right? So that's why this comment makes sense. We cannot compete as a young man because most young men still have, first of all, we have our ego, we have our looks somewhat still, and we don't need to pay for women. So it puts you in a weird spot, right? It's just like, but that only applies to online, right? So you still have a great chance if you meet people in person, because women online usually have very, very rarely you find somebody looking for a proper relationship, or they always want something from you. That's why I said online dating really is not really ideal when you're traveling here, right? So it's a really weird place you have to try to navigate through. So yeah, I hear what you're saying. Younger people have a lot of different things to compete with. So, and then not to mention the Filipino guys that are younger too. You're also competing with those younger Filipinos, right? So they are, locals. They're handsome. They speak the language. They know what to say and do. So as a younger person, you're kind of like in a no man's land. Nah, 11 says simps. David Hancock, one line site. This is apparently good. It's Christian Filipino. Bullshit. Garbage site. I would not recommend Christian Filipino to anybody. Bruh. Somebody's like, who's that behind you? I'm like, yo, don't play like that. I'm not trying to see no ghosts. Oh, wait. There's somebody behind me. Come on in. Okay, let me go this way. I got a special young lady in the house. You just ruined my whole life. Okay, let me go over here. Nobody needs to know who that is. Don't test me like that. Okay, let me go over here. Oh, there's a fan here. Uh, excuse me, guys. Excuse me. Don't tell my wife there's somebody in the house. It's my side chick. Uh, what's funny? Somebody said, "Who's behind you?" And I'm pretty sure they were joking. And right when I read that, I got my door knocked on. Anyways, guys, let's take a second to hit that like button. Write any questions that you have. Feel free to use the super chat, super stickers. If you're really enjoying this live stream, if you're new to the channel, subscribe as I make my way towards different countries in Asia. Let me put this down. And I'm in my underwear, so I hope this camera didn't go too. I mean, I don't mind because ain't nobody ashamed of this package over here. But let me go ahead and read some of this stuff. Let me turn this fan off. Okay, we're gonna go for a long time, guys. Thomas says age may not be a big issue, but her loyalty to her family over her boyfriend, who is providing for her and the children, even if the kids who aren't his, that's a huge issue. That's the thing. A lot of time, women are fine and they don't care about the money. They like you, all the stuff. But sometimes the family is a problem in these relationships because they're so close. Because sometimes they can be manipulated by the family. Unfortunately, it's the truth. So you may have problems with the family and not so much with her. And it happens, unfortunately. I hear often in these my street interviews that the family causes the issues, but it's just something you really have to kind of like put your foot down, man. You're a man at the end of the day. So you know what? We're moving out of the city. We're gonna go live by ourselves. We're gonna have to follow our own rules and laws. It's either me or them, basically, right? Don't forget, guys. I don't know, man. Like, stop being desperate for these women as well, right? You're still a man at the end of the day. Make manly decisions. And if she's not okay with it, then find another one. I mean, yeah, you love the person, I get it, but don't you love your life as well? Don't you love yourself? Don't you love and appreciate all the effort you put in to build your wealth and or not even wealth, whatever you have. I don't know, even if you're on like a social security, whatever you have, you put in the work, the time, even if you're on disability, you got injured for someone, why do you want to be in a relationship that doesn't benefit you? And if she only wants to be there to support her family, okay, that's her thing and good for her. You have nothing to do with it. But if it's like not working out for you, then change your situation. Change. You already changed your environment by coming to the Philippines. Then you could also change the woman you're with, right? So don't tolerate shit that you're not want to tolerate. It's gonna get negative a lot, by the way, guys. So because it's easy to fall into that negativity spiral because a lot of things annoy me as well, and I'm not even like dating a younger Filipina. But my point is like these things happen. I see it, and I wonder. I'm like, why do you allow this? Why do you allow things to happen? People that say, "Oh, my girl scammed me for 100,000 pesos." I'm like, why did you let that happen? Like, what happened? Like, where's your? Anyways, I'm not gonna blame victims, but like, still, we have a lot of control, guys. Only if you're the president of France. I don't get it. uh, Philippine expat Pepper said, we lived in Malaysia for 2 years. It depends on how you live. I think this is in reference to some of the cost of living things. Todd says, as you get more than 20 years older than the Filipino, you start to have different life stages. Not to mention, you will be a higher chance of being older than her parents, which can be awkward. Yeah, I mean, then there's the common issues that might occur from like having too much of an age gap is simply that, right? That you're just too far apart where you do not even really feel like you can connect with the person. But then again, once again, I'm assuming I'm not old man or young woman. I'm not either one of those things, so I can't really relate. And even if I was, I'd have to be in a relationship to have a full understanding. And then even at that point, it comes down to the individual, right? So let's not forget the actual common sense thing. It really comes down to those two people that are in that relationship. It comes down to two people and how they operate in that situation, right? So, hey, R. Alex, hi, hi. Todd C. When Filipinos come to the U.S., they tell them what to expect with older men at various age gaps. That may not happen if they never leave the Philippines. Mel Patton's here. I'm sick of this topic. Yuck. That's okay, Mel Patton. Fuck off then. People like that piss me off. I do these I do these videos because I've already explained like 100 times. It's because of my previous video. So I put out a live video, a real video, and the last video I put out was a 44-year age gap between the guy and his fiance. If you watch that video, there's a lot more to it than the age gap. But YouTube allows you to pick a title, and you have to have a title, and that was the title of that video, and that's the title of this live. And the thing is, just because you're sick of it doesn't mean the rest of the people are, or just because you watched a video on another channel doesn't mean other people have. So if it's not for you, then it's not for you. That's it. Hi from Manila. Hello. Bruh. Fan noise. Yeah, sorry, turn that off. Fix, thanks. Bro, what up with that background noise? Is this still going on? I mean, of course, it's an older message. My bad. Pepe, I also see in Thailand many ladies in the 30s that complain about they're alone and don't find anyone serious enough to commit. Why is that? Is it because Thailand men all want fun, but in Philippines want serious? Bruh, come on. Men are men everywhere. We men mess around and fool around with anybody. So And that's the other thing. Younger men have options. So if you're a person my age, I can go out there, go online, and meet many women. If you're an older guy, you have to leave with your wallet usually, and you have to pay for it. It's just a headache. Plus, by that age, you probably don't have as much of a sex drive, generally speaking. So it's easier to stay with an older man because they're usually a bit more loyal. They usually just messing around. I don't think it has anything to do with time. Or Filipino men are some of the biggest cheaters and playboys in the world. So I don't think it's any different. And I'm saying that, and I don't think anybody can deny it. Anyone that is in the younger group of guys or women that know about the Philippines would agree with me that Filipino guys, they're known to be playboys, the same as guys everywhere. I don't think men, honestly, no matter what country they're in, doesn't matter what. Yeah, men are men. We're built. It's in our genes. I mean, it's in our biological nature to try to reproduce. So we always see somebody and we're interested in them. It's just who can control that urge the most or better, I guess. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my spot. Don't look at me. Look that way. Good one, bro. Okay, I'm back to my usual spot. Is that still on, or is that the noise from the other room? I thought this was pretty quiet. Okay, I'm back to my usual spot. You guys are getting me all flustered with these questions, upsetting me. I'm sad now. Fan this and fan that. Okay, but all jokes aside, if this is the noise you guys were talking about, let me know. I'll turn this off. I'm wondering if it was a sound from the other place. Anyways, Thomas says, I agree. Boundaries, not signing up to support a family. Usually that happens if you have nothing else to offer, right? So if you're just, I don't know, man, it's difficult. It's not easy to talk about situations that one's not in, right? A lot of times I can only speak from my experience and what people have told me based off my interviews. Uh, Age gap works for some people, it doesn't for other people, but I see more positive than negatives. Um, Journey Trials and Joy says, how many of these guys who travel channels are just tricking? How many are truly honorable? I hate to say this. A lot of them come off as creepy and cringe. Depends on what you're watching, what you consider creepy. If you're considering some of my videos creepy, I guarantee you they're not to the person I'm interviewing. I'm a very good reader of character. First of all, I don't approach people that like, they're not interested in saying hi. Everybody that I never do cold interviews, right? So I cold approach, but I ask the permission if they want to be interviewed about a topic, and they say yes or no. And at the end of the interview, I ask the permission if I could post it online. They say yes. And at least for I don't know if you're talking about me or other people, but don't feel offended or creep for other people. If you think it's creepy, it's probably because people find you creepy, not you specifically, but I'm saying like those that think it's creepy is because that's how they feel, right? They feel like if they approach a woman, it'll be feeling creepy. That's probably because your own experiences, right? Women probably didn't appreciate you talking to them, or like you just don't have social skills or can understand. There's a guy out there that's really, really asking vulgar questions with these interviews. And although you and I might not like it, enough people do that he gets 500,000 views of video. So I mean, yeah, creepy to you or me or somebody, but it's not creepy to their audience, right? So if this channel is not for you, simply watch a different one. If another one you're watching creeps you out, don't watch them anymore, or at least not that kind of content. Once again, you have full control, right? Just like the money. Don't send money if you don't want to, or if you think they're scamming you. Andy Perez says, what do you think of the age gap? Would you date a woman 20 years younger? No, because that'll be illegal. I mean, and I wouldn't because I think I'm not old enough to have a 20-year age gap. Pepe says, these old men say all is perfect with these wives of 30 plus years age gap because they bring them home. Support, pay bill, all house, whatever. Of course, these ladies are happy and the best wives. Come on. Pepe, that may be true, but isn't that what men did for millennia to provide for the women, it's like you'd have to do that back home anyways in some shape, way, form, or other. So some guys would rather, instead of paying 50-50, pay 100% and get 100 times better looking women, right? Compared to someone their own age in the West, probably, right? So I don't think any guy is denying it. I think they're just not saying it out loud sometimes, right? I think we all understand. You, me, the woman, the older men, we know what's going on. It's just up to you if you want to admit it or not, right? I mean, when you see an old man that's in his 70s or 80s, sometimes a really older guy with a 20 something year old, I don't think any of us think, oh, look at that lovely couple. They must be in love. No, it's a transactional thing. And I think we all understand it. Um, that's why, for example, the last video I did with the gentleman, he was very upfront about his role in the relationship because I asked him, I'm like, hey, do you think you're with your woman because she needs fun? I don't know what I said, but I basically asked if he pays for her and her family, and he gave me a very honest answer, and it is what it is. So yeah. Journey Trials and Joy says, I don't like to kick men when they are down, but is there a way to overlook some of the character flaws? You can overlook them, but they're still there. I mean, men are not perfect. We're no better than women, right? How many, maybe not you and I, how many of us men, the first thing we say is, hey, send nudes. Send me a picture of your tits and ass. Like it's just, whoa. I should really wear pants next time I do this, huh? It's so hot. Okay. But so yeah, these are things that no guy's perfect. I mean, I think I am. I'm not. But like I'm saying, no guy's perfect, no girl's perfect, and it's just what you can tolerate and what you can't tolerate, right? So, um, yeah, let's see. Craig Luce says, "Hey man, hey." Craig Henderson, 34. Yeah, Craig, so you're amazing. Facts, facts, facts. Lastly, as an age gap, it's true. Let me see if there's any super chats. Nope. Okay, go back to the live chats. I'm just trying to get through the comments, guys. Give me a second because all this moving around has got me all over the place with the comments. Um, Journey Trials and Joy says, lastly, as for age gap, just true men in the West are taking advantage poverty in developing countries. The West is looked down on. I think people should be honest on what they like. Um, as far as taking advantage, okay, if you go to a store and they have a sale, 30% off, are you taking advantage of the store? No, both parties are aware, I think, of what their role is in a relationship. So as a foreigner, if I'm going to a poor country to find a wife or girlfriend because I know that they are in need of financial help, then I have to give financial help, right? So I'm buying time and love and everything else the same way as you are in the West. The only difference is in Western culture that price is much higher, right? You're never going to find someone making $2,000 a month with a 20-year-old girl if they're in their 70s in the U.S. or Canada. But you have that chance over here, and I think that's smart. I think that's good business. I think that's just someone improving their life, and it's a win-win. If you weren't coming over, maybe that girl's family would still live in a province home with no AC, no water, whatever, right? Um, I don't know. It's a whole. It's easy to judge people, right? So, but it's okay to understand why people do certain things. Think different, like different people have different needs and different circumstances require people to act and behave differently. And relationships are the same. Like if I was in Canada and if I'm on, let's say, on a dating app Tinder, and for a week I'm swiping right and I don't get a single match, maybe I should change the way I'm approaching this dating game. That's not for me. I'm not making any matches. This is forcing me to go out in public and try to meet somebody at the gym, at at any cafe, whatever, right? So it's the same as everything else. If something is not providing you a positive outcome, you need to either change the way you're doing it or change the environment, right? So I think men, they live much more comfortably out here in Asia than they do in the West. Ning's black eye says impossible to get laid in the West. At a certain point, yeah, it's getting to that level where you need to have a lot of resources to even have a chance with a woman, let alone getting laid and all that. uh, TechSpat says, "Speak for yourself. I don't want to reproduce." I don't think people want to. I'm saying genetically, men are were built in a subconscious mind to reproduce. When you see a woman, I'm not thinking, "Ooh, I love to reproduce with her." No, I want to smash. But like in the back of my mind, why does that happen? Is because uh, the feelings that you get that are so positive is to motivate you to reproduce. You know, so I'm talking about thousands of years ago, not right now. But I'm saying this is built into us, which means, yeah. Hey, look at that. Journey, Trials, and Joy. Thank you so much for that $5 super thanks super sticker. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I think you're answering my question with good reasoning. Yeah, definitely. And one more thing. So first of all, Journey, thank you for the $5. Secondly, guys, if I say something is different than what you believe, it's okay. People have differences of opinion, right? What my truth is can be different for you. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not a. I'm not the type of person that says if you don't believe what I believe, I'm going to kick you off the channel. No, if you're respectful, if you're just talking to me like a civil person, if you say, "Hey, man, I disagree completely," that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm right all the time. And I appreciate that more than somebody that gets upset because I don't say something they want to hear and then goes off the channel and now is upset for the rest of the day. I don't want that. All these, first of all, the purpose of this channel is entertainment. All the street interviews you see is just for entertainment to let people know this is how life is in the Philippines. Secondly, it's trying to be informative. I don't want any of my fellow like Canadians, Americans, fellow men, human beings to come here and be taken advantage of, to come here with this different like ideology or way of thinking and be disappointed because women are women everywhere. Like they're still gonna have standards. They're still gonna say no to you. So I don't want you thinking you coming here, you're immediately going to like find the love of your life. So there's a whole so the information is the second part of why I do this. And I always appreciate when somebody really can have a discussion with me, even if they disagree. So yeah, thank you for that once again, Journey, Trials, and Joy. I think they have a YouTube channel, guys. Check them out because of the name of. Yeah, I'll take a look myself as well. Actually, let's take a look right now, guys. If you have a YouTube channel and you want a shout out, I mean, we're a community here. I've never said no to another YouTuber on any scale. I don't care if they have 1,000 subscribers or 100. I've always tried to support because I was a small channel at once. I still think I am to some level. So let me just go ahead and see. Journey, Trials, and Joy. Want to take a look? Okay. So yeah, they do have a YouTube channel, but they're not very active, so maybe they don't care as much. But yeah, check them out. Journey, Trials, and Joy. Thank you so much once again. Let's go back to the comments. Um, journey. They say keep it consistent. Don't say gross age gap in the West, and then go to Asia. And yeah, exactly. Good point. Go to Asia and chase younger women. I find that hypocritical. It's true. If you're living in the West and you think that a 15, 20-year-old age gap is disgusting, don't come out here and look for a girlfriend that's 15 or 20 years younger than because here you may actually have a chance where in the West you will never get with that girl anyway. So you're making these statements, oh, it's gross and all that. So yeah, I agree. Don't be a hypocrite. Another excellent question. Someone says, what's an acceptable age gap? Personally, I don't think there is an acceptable age gap as long as both people are adults. Like for me, like I mentioned before, I'll say it again. I'm not in a position to tell people what is good and what is not good. I can only speak for what I see here in the Philippines and what is the average age gap between the relationships. So, like I mentioned earlier, I know a guy, I'm not going to say his name or whatever, but he's got a sugar mama basically. His girlfriend's 10 years older than him. He's a foreigner. She's a Filipina. They have a great relationship. I don't think he pays for rent or anything, and she takes care of him. So it happens the other way as well, but not so much. But it does happen. For the men, I've seen people in their 70s dating the people in their 20s. So that's 50 years, and basically anything and everything in between. So is it acceptable? I'm not gonna look at that guy in his face, do an interview with him, and then come behind his back or sit here and say it's unacceptable. I can't do that because that's not who I am. If I thought it was unacceptable, a 50-year age gap, I would not have done that interview. I would not have kept that interview. I would not have posted that interview. It's not my place to say what people should or should not do. I can tell you what I see personally, and I think as long as the person is mentally mature enough, physically mature enough, and obviously legally mature enough, then they're an adult to make their own decisions. It's not right to say, hey, don't love somebody because you're too young, but you're old enough to go to war or something like that, which is ridiculous, right? So some of the stuff that makes no sense to me. I think as long as both parties are adults, both parties are consenting, mutual, like agreeing on whatever terms, nobody's taking advantage. Even if someone's taking advantage of the other person, as long as they're okay with it. Some people like that. You know, there are people that are called, what are they call? I forgot. Uh, there's a term for them, right? Basically, they just give money to people and they say, take advantage of my money. And that's just, they get this joy from that. It's just a weird world out there. So they have both extremes to that level. So I don't think there's an acceptable age gap. So that's just my opinion. You can think differently, but I'm neither too young or too old to have any different thoughts on it. Journey, trials, and errors. Trials and error. I made that last part up. Journey, trials, and joy says, not your videos, on other videos. Like I said, this is probably because of the cringe and creepy comment. Like I said, I'm sure it's not mine, but I was only speaking for myself. But yeah, some stuff I find creepy and I just simply move on or switch the channel or whatever because I don't know who their audience is. I don't know if it's staged. I don't know if it's set up. I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns in some of these videos, and I just move on. If something bothers you in anything in life, change, whether it's location, atmosphere, the person. Don't be in a negative environment. Quentin White says age doesn't matter, it's just a number. Well done. I agree. Approximate says you need more to be in a relationship, marriage, than physical attraction. Yeah. And I think a lot of younger people feel like age matters or it's disgusting if it's too big of an age gap. And I think because at that young age, you still are attracted to someone physically first. You haven't had the chance to be older and realize that the world is really a lot more than just physical attraction. And that's just an assumption I'm making right now. But I was a younger person too at some point, and I thought the exact same thing when I first saw like a grandpa with a 20-year-old. I'm like, oh, what is that, right? But now that I'm older and I lived in Asia and I see why it happens and how it's actually not only is it beneficial to one old man, it's beneficial to the woman and her entire family sometimes, right? So, in a sense, in a way, the guy's helping her way more than she's helping him. So, once again, I think men are the victims, if anything. Let's see. Mark King says the average age gap is half your age, then minus 5 years from that rule is that is the rule. I've heard that too, right? Divide your age in half and add five is what I heard. As long as it's legal, they say. Keith Adams said, retiring next year, Social Security and a pension. Hope it'll be enough. It is enough. Like it comes down to yourself and what you want from your life in the Philippines. If you want what I've found, like in the Philippines, you can live for one third of the cost you did back home. Some of the standards of some things are a bit lower, but it's still understandable. It's a developing country. The more you pay, the more comforts you have. But as a single person, just paying for yourself, your SS and your pension is more than enough. Ooh, Gary's asking a proper question. Not that the other questions were improper, but I think this one requires me to think a little bit. Gary says, can you discuss how these age gaps would be affected by an older man not wanting to have any more children or have had a vasectomy? Oh, that's a difficult one because here's the thing, a woman can say one thing and then change her mind later on, right? So let's say you get with a woman, you spend a year or two together. Initially, she says she doesn't want to have a kid, and now because her biological clock is ticking, her motherly instincts are kicking in, she wants a kid, and you're left in the dark basically. Oh, you told me you don't want kids, but now you do. Yes, that's a risk you have to take, man. But it's definitely communication that is the only way out of that. At the beginning, you have to let them know how serious you are about not wanting to have kids. Um, yeah, it happens. I've heard of people making that an excuse to actually get out of a relationship and take half the guy's money, right? So, Girl says, "Yeah, I don't want to have kids. I don't want to have kids," and then they get into a relationship. They start a fight. I want to have kids. You don't want it, so let's break up. Now that I'm in the U.S., now that I'm in Canada, uh, so it's happened. It's just a risk you have to take. But I think communication is the only way uh, that situation can be resolved. Quentin White says, if you get married in the Philippines, there's no divorce in the Philippines. You're stuck to pick the right woman, have standards. Um, that no divorce thing I've heard a lot about. I also understand there's a way around that. I think if you're a foreigner married to a Filipina, you can get divorced for cost and time. I think two Filipinos can get divorced, but I think for foreigners there are options. I don't know much about that. I would say to consult a lawyer or watch people that know what they're talking about, except for me. But naturally, you want to marry the right person. If she's not the right person, if you're just on the fence about it, don't get married. You can have a relationship without marriage, right? So why get legally married? I don't see any benefit to a man in 2024 to get married. That's my personal opinion. William Adelman, William Adelman said, "You and Bianca from the Philippines Life are about neck and neck and subscribers wise, and we've never seen you in a bikini." I think that says a lot about me, huh? The fact that I can get anywhere close to Bianca and look about 1/10 of the way she does, especially if I put on a bikini. Hey, that's a new one. A bikini for men should be called a bikini. I actually met Bianca. She's in one of my videos. She's very sweet, and I guess it sucks that they broke up, but life goes on. I don't know what's going on that side. I don't usually watch other YouTubers, but of course I know Bianca. Yeah, Mark King. Yes, you are right. If all the girls in your own country is swiping left, then you should be looking outside of your country. Just like if you go fishing, if you are not catching the fish in one spot. Yeah, I mean, most of us men, I don't know. I think men are just overlooked a lot in today's dating game. It's not to feel sorry for men or whatever, but I think the standards of some of these women are so high now that's becoming to a level of delusional women wanting to go on vacation on a first date kind of thing. They want to go on yachts and they want to be taken to Jamaica and whatnot. It's like, who do you think you are? It just doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, that's just a very small percentage of people. But meet people in person if you can. Jay Sully says, "How's Palm? Palm's great. Travel with Roland. I have an 11 years age gap. It's great. Excellent." Yumi Mango says, "I like old men because they really don't want to have sex that often." That's kind of a sad statement, but don't you want to have sex? I mean, what is wrong with wanting sex often as well? As a grown person, isn't that something you desire, want in a partner? Don't you want to have some kind of passion? So you're saying younger men would want to have sex more often, which is a bad thing. But why is that a bad thing if you're with the right person, right? So yeah, everybody's different. Emmett, I can't agree to that because I don't know who Billy Joel is. I've heard of the name, but I have no idea which music he plays or what it is. Journey, Charles, and Joy said, "What's your take on the BBC painting a broad picture of men traveling to Asia, our contribution to sex tourism, which they stated in the program they're not different than any traffickers?" I disagree. What the fuck? I think BBC is full of shit if that's what they said. People are so dumb. Uh, they think, firstly, I don't know how to say this. Sex, I don't know. That's just too much to get into. I disagree completely with BBC. Mark King says, "I had a girlfriend here in the US. Her parents had an age gap of 20 years different between them, and they were happy too." Yeah, in the US, it can happen too, right? It's just less likely. And as we grow into this new generation, it's less and less likely that those age gaps become a reality unless you're just like a really rich person. That's it's the same thing as here. Just most men don't meet the requirements of women in the West. If they did, then those age gap relationships would be more visible and obvious as well. Al Gold says option for old lonely men with money in the West is to get a young woman in the East and raise her family out of poverty. Both parties benefit. Filipina is old men die lonely and women stay in poverty. Yeah, if you want to be very blatant to the point, and yeah, it's a statement that I would have to agree with. User says, I love men, but I haven't told my girlfriend yet. What do I do? I don't think you're serious. I think it's a joke or trolling, but I'll give you advice. If you are gay and you like men, I think you should simply tell your girlfriend. There's nothing she can do about your being gay, and there's an easy discussion and an easy way out of your relationship. No woman wants to be with a guy that prefers other men. So just bite the bullet, is what I'm going to say. Journey Trials and Joy says, I believe because men are changing habits, which is affecting the West in terms of population and culture. Will they ever come after men who travel to Asia? No way. They can't. They will come after you for what? For wanting to see the world? You know, not everybody comes to Asia for women, right? Not just saying generally. I didn't come to Asia for women. I came here to get away from the cost of living in Canada. 5 years ago when I left, I didn't come here to look for a woman. I was just like trying to live better. I wanted to eat better. I wanted to have more time to myself. And as a result, I started this channel. And as a result of doing interviews, this is just one video on my channel talking about age gap, right? Everything else is about entertainment or travel in some sense. And in the next month or two, I'm going to get back on the road. I'm going to be back traveling to different countries. So for me personally, for a bunch of digital nomads, for a bunch of people that want to have a better life standing, it's not always about women, right? So I think, will there be more restrictions on travel? I think in general, yes, they're going to try to control people like they've always have, the government, the corporations, all these things. But I think to just outright ban men from going to the East, impossible. At least not in our lifetime. No, I would have no shame in telling you guys if I had a sugar mama. She's like, BJ says, so that was your sugar mama you didn't want us to see. No, that's just a regular mama. I don't want people to see it. Half your age plus seven is what I've heard. Half your age plus seven. Nah. I mean, yeah, that is the rule. I've heard that rule before. David says the only way I have a relationship now is not to live with a woman. I'm 56 and my partner is 40 here in Australia. We both have our own homes and still spend time together. I think some of the best relationships actually come from not living together because you have your private space and you get to see the person once or twice a week, which gives you that excitement that, you don't want to live with somebody sometimes and be involved in every single moment of that, life. Men are independent. We need that alone time. And if the person's too clingy, too jealous, or whatever, it can cause some real like ruffles in a relationship. But I mean, every relationship is different, but I can see that working. So good for you guys. TechSpat says 7,000 plus islands. I want to procreate all of them. Zero benefits of marriage to man. It is true these days. Nathan Rangel. Hi. Hi, Nathan. Jordan says, hey, what's up? Hi. Mark says, yes, there are no divorces in the Philippines, but you can get a divorce in another country than USA. There are countries in Southeast Asia that can get a divorce. Yeah, I don't know about that stuff, but I'm sure there's ways around it. Hi, what are you doing next year, Christmas Day, Christmas Eve? I have no idea. Who knows if I'm even alive by then? Nicholas, Vietnam or Thailand for 25 years old, looking to stack money while living cheaply and comfortably. They're both great countries. I'd probably pick actually I'll probably pick Thailand over Vietnam, just for the food, the street food, and the spice levels. And I just I Vietnam's amazing. I've been there twice, but I'm gonna go again for sure. But I still think Thailand edges Vietnam slightly. Okay, guys, let's take a break here. We got over 120 people watching. Do me a big favor if you haven't done. Click the little three dots on the top right hand corner. Hit that like button. Let YouTube know this is a great video so other people can join in. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Even if you don't want to, you're just sitting there anyways. Actually, don't subscribe if you don't want to. I don't know why I said that. And feel free to use the super chat, super stickers. Ask any questions that you have. Just interact. Get everything off your chest, off your mind. Don't be shy. This is we're all grown ups. I like to think I have thick skin, so say whatever you want. Ask any questions, unless you're just being deliberately belligerent. I forgot my English language. Let's go on to the next question. uh, I'm just skipping through some of these nonsense comments. Every live stream, somebody wants me to get oiled up. It's kind of weird. Oh, so sweet. Courtney says, if I made the alphabet, I would put you and I together. Cute. Frosty says, good morning. Our family culture is about a father is the head of the leader of the family, and the mother is the caretaker of the house. So if the man is immature, can't blame that our women here prefer old men. Yeah, and the thing is, let's also mention another reality in the Philippines. Getting a job is difficult in the Philippines. Even minimum wage jobs require you to have like degrees and go through like these hoops and obstacle courses just to get a job at McDonald's, right? So it makes it difficult for a regular guy growing up in the Philippines to become successful. So it's not fair from that sense as well, right? So yeah, it's just it's a weird playing field when it comes to dating in the Philippines. If you're neither rich or if you became or Philippine, I don't know. It's just it's difficult for them as well. I just want to point that out. It's not easy for Filipino guys either. Cable, I'm gonna read your word because it's just funny. Cable says balls. Aiden, hi. Aiden says, how's your day been? My day is just starting. I'm starting to wake up feeling a little bit more energetic. I'm gonna head up the gym maybe in an hour or so, jump in the pool, go to a cafe, edit some videos, and then go to a night market in the evening, get some food. Life's good. LG, LG. Mark says USA will never ban men going to another country at all. How I know this is you need to just look up the US borders and what's going on. Over there, the USA government wants to open borders. I mean, if it's already like this, I can't imagine if it's open borders. Um, Nakia says, hey, hey. Aiden says, hi, hi. Larry says, what do you think of Trudeau's ideologies? Has they ruined Canada with woke mentality, open immigration, and ban of fossil fuels? Trudeau is a fool, man. If I have seen him, that guy pisses me off, man. Like that Trudeau guy, he needs to just leave, man. Somebody should just kick him out somehow. That guy has ruined Canada. Like even me being an immigrant to Canada is ashamed of him. I can't imagine like people that were there for generations. Because let's not forget, pretty much everybody in Canada is an immigrant, unless you're like part of the native community, which is very small. But the point is, that guy is just overcorrected the country so much. All this feminism, like feminism, okay, cool, one thing, but this whole woke, like the speech stuff, like under the C-63 bill that's being passed or talked about right now, where you can't even talk shit about the government because it's gonna be punishable by law by 5 years to life imprisonment. Like, what the fuck is going on in Canada? Canada is like getting out of hand, and I'm embarrassed sometimes to even think about it. Like these days, if anybody's like keeping up with the news or understands politics a little bit, would be ashamed to be Canadian as far as that side of it goes. Politically speaking, it's just a mess. It bothers me, man. Like it's just gross. It's disgusting, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Where you're forcing someone to say things. It's one thing to punish someone for saying things, but to force someone, like I don't like Jordan Peterson anymore because of what he said about Gaza and Hamas, not Hamas. I don't I don't support Jordan Peterson anymore because of what he said about the war in Gaza. So I don't follow him anymore. But he was right when he talked about the whole freedom of speech and how Canada's forcing you to say things you don't want to, which is bullshit to me. It's one thing to punish someone for something they said that's negative, but it's a whole other thing to force people legally to say something. That's just weird to me. That's like complete. I don't know what that is. That's like dictatorship to the max. Anyways, thanks for bringing that up. That's why we don't talk politics, right? It's always a weird thing to get into. I like your shirt, bro. Thank you. Palm made this for me. Um, William Ottoman says, mildly fascinating tad bit. Lapu Lapu was named for the chief who whacked Magellan? Really? Ha! Interesting. I had no idea. So I guess Magellan was that Portuguese explorer and somebody killed him and they named Lapu Lapu after him. Yeah, Keith says last child support payment in May. No more children. Okay. Alive. Live life fully. Says, hey, pretty boy. Pretty boy. Philippines woman only needs money, even if you're 80 years old. I mean, people need money everywhere. So that really is the same much. Mark says, I agree with you. Vietnam is great. Way underrated. Definitely country. The food is way better than any food you can get in the. Oh, yeah, for sure. Delicious food. Fresh. Are you a dad? I'm not a dad. David Riley says, very true what you stated in regards to not living there or not living together. It keeps the relationship fresh. We both enjoy our privacy and independence to a degree. I'm also protective of my assets. You should be. I think there's one thing to be generous, one thing to want to share, but it's a whole other thing to be taking advantage of your assets. Like, come on. Uh, Alex, young women can get sex anytime, anywhere they want. So we seem to have more control and somewhat less drive than men. I don't think it's sad. I agree. There's nothing wrong with your statement, but he said the idea was that you like old men because they want sex less, meaning that you want sex less. So that's my point. It's sad that you would prefer someone that wants less sex, which means you don't enjoy sex basically. And I think personally that's sad. I mean, you may not be as sexually driven, which you just mentioned, and I agree with that. Maybe you're just not a sexually driven person, which kind of helps a relationship because you don't want your girl to be overly sex driven because you might be driven to a different man's house, you know. Typically, tragically delicious. Poor Western men, so miserable single. Not true of Western single women, who is the common denominator. Men, so we're the bad guys. Um, oh, great question. Muddy Bubble 32. What do you think of people using travel routers to mask? So, what do you think of people using VPNs to mask their IP address so you can work from anywhere, but they still think you're at home? Yeah, I support that shit. If you want to work wherever, as long as your computer is secure. If you have, so you don't get hacked by somebody living in Vietnam or something, I'm all for that. They fire you, so they fire you. So what? Find another job that allows you to travel. Ah, like I can't stand these companies. You can work from home, but you can't leave the country. Why? Like, what is it to you if I get the same job done? Like, it's annoying to me because they know that you just want to improve your life, and that's a threat to the corporations, right? That you might actually leave. And like, honestly, I think it's BS. If you can complete the same job, what does a location matter as long as your computer's secure? Like, come on. It bothers me. I support it. I wish everybody could travel and do what they want. Purple Goblin, no, I will not. Mark King. So what do you know? Mark King says so that why do I read fast but then I can't read? Why don't I just slow down? Anyways, Mark King says so that you do know. Yes, I have been to Vietnam 2 times for 4 weeks each time, all in 1 year. I like it there so much I had to go back a second time. LOL. I love Vietnam. Agreed. Hi, bro. Hello. Muddy Bubble says Canada is crazy. My mom has a Canada friend, and they are putting their kids through gender counseling because they let the kid wear a dress, and now he says he's a girl. Yeah, Canada's a mess. You know, in Canada, if your kid says they want to be a cat or a dog, they're called furries, and they can go to school and bark like a dog and meow like a cat, and they can take a piss and a shit in a corner of the room in a sandbox. Yeah, that's how bad it's getting. Mark King said, "Is it cheaper than those two countries?" Yeah, Vietnam is the cheapest Southeast Asian country that I've been to. So cheaper than Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Philippines. Vietnam's the cheapest. Mark King said the only problem with Thailand and Vietnam is the language in those two countries. That's the Philippines has over Thailand and Vietnam. I couldn't agree more. That's the biggest downfall of those two countries you mentioned. But then again, it comes down to what do you want from those countries? Because for my day to day life in Vietnam and Thailand, language wasn't an issue because I'm not out there trying to meet women. I'm not out there trying to write essays in English. So, or the only thing that affects my job is the English language. I've made interviews with Thai women and I can't joke around. I can't just be myself. I can't have that, go off their answers kind of vibe. It becomes very boring, awkward. Like it just, like bless their soul for even speaking words of English. But for my job and doing interviews for my YouTube channel, it's difficult. Like I respect them for saying yes to speaking English on camera to a native English speaker. It's not easy to speak a second language. So big respects to everyone that said yes. But as far as the content itself, as far as people being interested in the videos, it's not as beneficial in Thailand for me. But aside from that, to live here, if you are just working online for yourself or like you just want a better cost of living or improve your living standards, Thailand and Vietnam are amazing if language is not your main priority. If you're trying to make deep connections with people, have full on conversations, the Philippines is better because people majority speak English. Now, the English isn't perfect, but it's still a lot better. It's a lot closer to native English speaking than anywhere else in Southeast Asia. And you can make like jokes and use slang and all that, and it's fine. Gamer Rage 101 says mosquitoes refuse to bite me purely out of respect. Okay. Shakwekwe Dingle, welcome to the live stream. Salt Bay says you're out there looking for she boys. Okay. This is called deflection, This guy's gay on the inside and wants to say that to me. It's fine though. It's cool. No, no, not a big deal these days, right? You can be gay, straight, lady boy. You can be a cat and a dog if you want. Um, Mark King said the only country in Southeast Asia I think that can be cheaper than Vietnam may be Cambodia. Probably true, but I only spent 3 days in Cambodia at Siem Reap, and I just did the whole tours and stuff, so I can't really comment on that. But I hear it's getting expensive there as well. But just like any other country, I'd have to travel there more extensively to have a better understanding of cost of living. Um, Larry says Canadian passports now allows third genders as X. Yeah, good luck and see how many countries allow you to enter their borders with the X passport. Ridiculous. Ghost says, "Can I give you a song?" Hey, we're already at the end of the chats, huh? Okay, okay, that was unexpected. I'm gonna get so we got an hour and 20 minutes. We got over 120 people watching. Let's take a short break by hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, asking any questions you can have. I'll do my best to address them. I'm gonna have a sip of my water and we'll talk more about age gaps in a relationship. Okay, so let me go back to my notes here. So another pro from having a big age gap in a relationship is mentorship opportunities. Obviously, the older guy can really mentor the younger woman. It sounds kind of weird when I say it that way, but having wisdom really helps with that big age gap relationship. You can pass down wisdom and mentor this person into being a better human being. That's another pro. Let's go to second con. Life stages, yeah, of course. The difference in life stages, right? Partners may be different at life stages, impacting shared goals such as starting a family. A big con in big age gap relationships, people are in different stages of their life. Somebody's, in the golden years, retiring, relaxed, and somebody's just starting out fresh, young, ready to go. A girl in the 20s might want to have babies, a guy in the 70s may not want to, or 60s, right? So that could be a con of a big age gap relationship. Point number three, positive thing. Number three, stability. The older partner may have established a career, stability, and financial security. One of the main reasons why these age gap relations happen is because the male usually is older, much more established in the career and the life financially, and is very secure in who they are and stable in the relationship. Con number three, when it comes to big age gap relationships, judgment by society, like what we're doing now, judging people with big age gap relationships. And it could be very negative from the locals, from the church, from the family, from the community, from your neighbors, whoever. They could be like, oh, look at this old man running around with this young ting. So they might be like, oh, that's disgusting. That's gross. Ugh, yucky. That kind of stuff, or whatever they may say, or like just judge you for having an older partner or a younger partner. So judgment is a big thing. That's the third thing that went wrong with big age gap relationships. And we're at an hour and 20 minutes. I can go on. Let's see what else is here. Laos, but I've never been to Laos, Mark King. But I assume it's cheaper. I guess it's a bit less developed, probably a bit cheaper to live in Laos. Okay, so I think we're gonna call it a day. You know what? Let's go for 9 more minutes, and then we'll finish off. So today's gonna be an hour and a half. Let's go to pro number four. Growth opportunities. Both partners can learn from each other, kind of the same as number two there. So go to number five. Reduce pressure. Obviously, the relationship may face less pressure from societal norms or expectations. So if you have a old man and a younger woman, there might be less pressure on them as far as expectations, right? People might already recognize that there's a big age gap, so they might have less expectations of them to maybe start a family or a business or something. They might be okay knowing that, okay, this person is older and that person is younger, therefore the expectations drop as well. Con number 4 and 5. Let's look at the cons. Health concerns, obviously, and that's a very big negative in a big age gap relationships. Your health issues starting to come up, right? So, and that could just be not just, health as in like your physical well-being, but also sexual and mental health, right? Maybe you're starting to forget things, and maybe you don't have the energy to please your younger partner, so they have no choice but to go out and cheat. So, or whatever, right? I'm just making the worst case scenario. The health issues and mental issues and sexual issues when it comes to older and bigger age gap relationships. 5 is family acceptance. A big negative, a big factor, a downside of a big age gap is family acceptance. So the girl might want you, but her family may not. Now that's a bit rare usually here because they're so close with their families, but it's still a possibility where the mom and dad say, listen, this dude is like 40 years old and you sure you want to do this? They might like try to like change your mind and whatever. So that is a possibility of a big age gap relationship. Ruthie, Mr. Torque says no divorce from the Philippines, but they can get an annulment. Mark King says everyone does not, only society has placed the age gap on us, and only society locked down on age gaps too. Okay, well said. Angel Dust, hi. Angel Dust says, I live next door to you. I don't think so. Whiskers says, hello guys. Buongiorno. Oh my God, we're getting more and more people coming into a live stream. So guys, take a quick second, hit that like button, hit the 3 little dots on the top right hand corner, like this video so more people can see it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, ask your questions, talk to me about life in the Philippines and Asia, about you. What's going on with you? Are you happy in your day-to-day life? Do you want to make a change? Do you want to take that next step to come to Asia? Do you want to try to work online for yourself? Do you want to quit the 9 to 5 rat race and find yourself a girlfriend that's 40 years younger? Why not? You can do it in the Philippines. Subscribe now to our. I'm joking. So yeah, it's true though. Like everything I said, do it. Do it now. Wiska says, I'm from Indonesia. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. I've been to Indonesia. That's a nice country. I was there during the month of Ramadan, unfortunately, so not as many food vendors out during the day. But Bali was nice, and Jakarta was another major city as like any other one. Food was delicious. People are kind and friendly. I don't like your metro and subway system though, because I couldn't get a card because I need to have an app or something. It was just a hassle, and I couldn't just pay cash to get a ticket to get on the train. It was weird. I did not like that, but that's my problem. Aiden says, "What night market do you eat at?" Good question. I eat at Jod Fair. Um, organizedbusinessservices.com says, I'm in Cebu getting laid tonight. Well, I hope you do, my man. I hope you do get whatever your little heart desires in Cebu. Cebu City is nice. It's an excellent place to just do a bunch of stuff you want to do. Okay, Billy says, been told when you stay in Cebu, go to Bohol. Have you been to Bohol? Yes, I've been there a few times, probably 3 or 4 times. Bohol is very nice. It's a big island. There's a lot of things to do, activities, some nice beaches, a lot of resorts, a lot of hotels, villas, and all that. Yeah, you got the Chocolate Hills, the Tarsiers. You have the whale sharks you can still do in Bohol. You have the ATVs. You got a bunch of stuff you can do. Bohol's really nice. I recommend a 2 or 3 day trip there just to explore a bit. It's nice, and not just Bohol. Like the whole island of Cebu has beautiful places from north to the south. So if you're in Cebu City, you got to check it out, man. Do it. Andrew CJ says just joined. I have a weak connection. What's up? Not much, Andrew. I'm doing my regular live stream after my main video. So the main video a couple days ago was about our age gap relationship. This live video started off talking about some pros and cons of a big age gap relationship. Not a new topic, but definitely my take on the matter. So yeah, we're just answering some random questions. Have you been to Banda Aceh? Went to Indonesia. I didn't, unless I did, I don't know the name, to be honest. So I have no idea. Kendall Thorne says, where do you buy groceries from? I don't, Kendall, I don't buy no groceries because I don't cook. I don't want no roaches coming in the room. No, thank you. And also, I just eat out all the time. Well, I know it's not good, right? So, but if I were to go grocery shopping, honestly, buy my fresh produce at Carbon Market and go there once a week, buy a whole bunch of stuff, come back. Even if you have to pay the taxi there and back, it's still worth the price you save from Metro, for example, or Robinsons or whatever else. It's just too pricey. I don't understand how any normal person in the Philippines is paying 80 pesos for one potato or something, or like 300 pesos for a kilo of mangoes. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry, but Metro prices for the supermarket is absurd. It's like the same price or more than Canada, man. Like, so yeah, I go, if I were to shop, I'd go to Carbon for my fresh produce. And then as far as like, obviously, I have no choice for regular items like toiletries and all that to go to Metro in Iola, any of those places. BJ says I've been to Barracks at Carbon Market. It was pretty good, but smoky. I don't know what that is. I know what Carbon is, but what is Barracks? Is that a restaurant or a place? I have no idea. Red Desert says, or Red Desert? No, Red Desert. I read that first properly. Anyone been to Palawan? I hear it's nice. I recently went to Baraka and it was okay, but I think Palawan would be better. Palawan is nice. I've been there. I went to Puerto Princesa and I've been to El Nido or Coron. I can't remember, but Palawan is nice. Beautiful waters, excellent. It's a bit more pricey, the flight to get there, but I guess so is Boracay. If you went there, you should have no problem going to. Palawan. The van ride from the city, the airport to Coron is like a bit long. It's like 6 hours, but once you get there, it's beautiful. Thank you, yes, Queen. We love a short king. I do be too short, so that's great. Uh, Andrew says, as I get older, they stay the same age. I like that. Quagmire, right? Said that in Family Guy. One thing I love about high school girls, yeah, it's pretty funny. Okay, Billy, what is your meal routine? Do you eat out lunch and dinner? What would your average meal cost in peso daily? Um, that's a very wide range. My personally in the mornings, I don't eat anything. So this is my meal routine, and I'll tell you guys, it's not healthy, it's not good, but this is what it is. In the mornings, I wake up, I make coffee at home. I just have instant coffee, not a big deal. Usually, I have a black, but I usually have a side of like sweet with it, like a cookie, a biscuit, a wafer, something like that. So that's my morning, 9 o'clock. By 12 o'clock, I eat the leftovers from last night. So for dinner, by 6 o'clock, I go to the night market, which is in IT Park, of course. It's called Sugbo Mercado. Usually I get mie goreng Indonesian noodles and some chicken poppers, which is basically fried chicken. So those two items, I eat half of each and leave the other half for the next day lunch. So that's it. So my coffee, let's say what, 10 pesos, 20 pesos, and my lunch is from the night before, so that's free. And my dinner is about, this sounds super Canadian, about about 300 pesos. So less than $6, $5. So my full day, if I'm not going out with someone, if I'm not going out for dinner, if I'm not doing something specific and special or whatever, I eat for about $5 a day, lunch, dinner, and breakfast. And you could obviously drastically reduce that if you could cook at home or do whatever. In the Philippines, you could eat as cheap as you want. You could probably eat for $1 a day if you cook at home and you price it out and all that stuff. $2, let's say. But what I just explained to you cost me about $5, and that's it. But if I'm going out and have for dinner, sometimes I order pizza from the Bella. It's a tad expensive, but it is what it is. So I pay 500 pesos. But that lasts me two meal because they get a cheese pizza and a pasta. So still about $5 when you look at it. Anyway, so that's my day routine. Mark King says only society tells us what Mark King says only society tells us what expected and what not expected. Therein lies what's wrong with society overall. Very deep thinking right there. Have you ever ridden a horse? Nah. Okay, Billy. Which is the cheapest fruit market in your area? Is it walking distance? It is not walking distance. Good luck finding cheap fruit in the Philippines. Only bananas, maybe if some guy in a cart comes by and you get it. You got to take a taxi to go to Carbon, buy a week worth of fruit, and do that. Is my suggestion. Like, but the mall itself, the metro, or even the stores that sell fruit, they know exactly what they're doing. That foreigners that is my biggest one of my biggest pet peeves in the Philippines is fruits and vegetables are extremely expensive if you think about it at Metro and at regular stores. If you go to Carbon, which is like the wet market, okay, fine, you get some good deals there. But general public, I feel like fruit has become a luxury item and it shouldn't be that way. Like, what is going on? In Vietnam, in Thailand, I mean, anyways, I don't compare countries, but that's one thing that I wish was different in the Philippines. And it's so bad because so overpriced, nobody buys it. So whenever you go to the fruit, I mean, whenever you go to the markets, everything is like wilted and old and just not even good quality. Yet the price is like 4 or 5 times what it should be, at least, if not 10 times. Oh, BJ said the bar's next to Freedom Park. Got it, got it. You still do the one meal a day? I'm hooked on the Rude Coffee place in IT Park. Yeah, the coffee is delicious. I mean, and it's just the girl that bothers me. And the one meal a day, it's just the, like I said, it's not a healthy style or a healthy living. It's not a good way of living, but that's just what I am at. That's how I eat in the Philippines. Morning, nothing. Lunchtime, the leftovers from the night before. And at night, I have two items from the night market where I eat half of each and save the other half for the next day. I mean, yeah, sometimes afternoon, I might get a donut at Jayco, which they have delicious donuts. Or I might stop by Chat Time to get milk tea, which has pearls and bubbles and tapioca balls in there, which is filling really. So yeah, I mean, I snack and graze like a cow throughout the day if there's like ding dong or something around. But as far as meals go, that's my routine. So, but when I'm in Thailand, oh my God, the food is everywhere and it's so hard to stay in shape. Thank God that the condos have gyms everywhere. Red Desert says, sounds good. Thank you for the info. Does it jiggle? No, wiggles more like not jiggle though. You ever go to the movie theaters there? I did. I can't remember. It was a while ago though. But just another movie theater. Oh, I did go to a movie theater in the Philippines. This was like 2 years ago. I'll tell you the story. Another one thing, if you come to the Philippines, if you're new, some of the rules is gonna really piss you off, and you're gonna get annoyed. You're gonna try to start a fight. Not start. I'm gonna tell you what happened to me. So I go to the movie theater and I say, "Give me this popcorn and give me this Coke." Like, sorry, sir, we don't have Coke in. That's another thing. They're gonna be out of a lot of things all the time, so you get used to that. So they're like, "Oh, sorry, sir, we don't have ice," is what she said. I'm like, let me try to remember the story correctly. Oh, they were out. That's what happened. They were out of the cups, so they gave me the can of Coke. So I'm like, great. So when I went and they gave me the can of Coke, they sold it to me. Everything was good. When I go in the movie theater, the guy's telling me, the security guard, I can't bring the can of Coke in the theater. I'm like, bro, they just sold it to me. What am I supposed to do with this? He's like, leave it here, and when you come out, get it again. I'm like, why? I'm like, they just sold me the Coke. They're like, oh, you can't bring cans into the movie theater. I'm like, why? And they go, oh, you can't. I'm like, okay, but then why did she sell it to me? What am I supposed to do with this can of Coke? He's like, leave it here. I'm like, all right, sure, bro. I'm gonna leave my can of Coke here because I'm gonna do something with it in the theater, but not here. Anyway, so I leave the can of Coke there. I go in there. I'm still it's bothering me. I'm like, this is annoying me, right? I'm like, I'm going out to get the can of Coke. Sorry, one sec. So I'm like, I'm going to get the can of Coke. So I went out, and on the way out, um, I took the two cans with me, and I told the woman that the security guard had changed, by the way. So I told the woman those are my cans, and I went out, and the movie hasn't started yet. I still have my ticket. So I went out for like a minute. Now this is just me, being dumb and stubborn and whatever. So then I came back in, and this time I kind of like hid the can of Coke, so she didn't see it. And I went in there. I'm like, nice. So I sat down, watching the movie, and I opened my can of Coke, and I'm drinking it, right? And I'm watching the movie. And about 5 minutes later, the original security guard came in, and he's like, sir, you have to get rid of the can of Coke. I'm like, bro, I'm already in here. I'm drinking the Coke. It's open. Nobody's being hurt. Why don't you just go upon your day and leave me alone, right? He's like, no, sir, you have to get the can of Coke. I'm like, all right, come get it. So he's like, I'm like, come get it. So basically, now he was in a spot where like, do I really want to do something about this can? I'm like, how important is this can of Coke to you? I'm like, do you not understand the logic behind this? Anyways, stuff like that's gonna happen in the Philippines. Now you can say if I'm right or wrong. That's not obviously I'm wrong because I mean depends how you look at it. I should have just listened, but I didn't, and I'm like, and then he had to come across and grab the can of Coke and then walked it out. I'm like, really? Do you think you won in this situation, or do I think I don't know who was dumber, him or me? Either way, that's what happened. That's my movie theater experience. You can do what you want with that information, but stuff like that happens often, where things just don't make sense at all. Sorry, guys. Let me catch up with the comments here. Larry says, would you agree most men, normal men, going to the Philippines look for female companionship, otherwise they won't be giving a rat's ass about the Philippines? I agree with that 1 million percent. I'm going to say this number 98.3% of men that come to the Philippines come for the woman. There's not even like you can say whatever you want. Those are the facts. Andrew says, I'm just one meal a day at about 60, oh, 600, I thought 60. I'm just about one meal a day at about 600 pesos max. The rest is cold coffee. Hey, it is what it is. 600 is decent money, 10 bucks, right? So, and it's nothing. It's less than a McDonald meal back home. Brandon says, did you say you like high school girls? Or did I hear that wrong? No, you heard that right, but that was supposed to be a joke from Family Guy when Quagmire says how the reason he likes high school girls is because he keeps getting older, but they stay the same age. It's just a joke. I don't like high school girls. It's about Family Guy. Red Desert says, I miss the street food in the Philippines. I'm back in the States now. Interesting. I think that's the first time I've heard someone say they like Filipino street food. Um, but to each his own, and maybe try some delicious food. SNR could be a good option, similar to Costco. I would eat 3 meals a day, need protein and fruits. Yeah, but SNR, I've never been there. I know you need to have a membership. That's not the point, but like it's like Costco. But I hear that the prices are getting wild as well. But that's just some random person that said that. I have no idea about SNR. Adam Kidd said it's best to shop where you see the regular locals. Excellent point, Adam. Wow, Adam says I've been eating mango over sticky rice. I can pick mangoes off our tree. Well, you, sir, have hit the jackpot. Happy birthday to the beast, Alex. Can of beans. You ever go down to visit Davao? I heard nothing but good things. Yeah, I have a video about it. Take a look. Andrew says mangoes are next level in the Philippines. They are, but I prefer Thai mangoes. Like honestly, hands down. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you guys. Uh, I had such high expectations for Philippines mangoes, but it seemed like I'm never in the right place, the right season, the right price. It's just everybody's got an excuse why it doesn't taste good at the time. So yeah, Text Bass says Coke sucks. Yeah, that does. William says, "Can in the theater? Report to NBI." Yeah, they're gonna kick me out of the country for sure. Andrew said, "I'm sick of foreigners acting up with a can of Coke in the theater." Yeah, I mean, it's a weird story, man. It was the guy was power tripping and I was being stubborn, so like one against the other. Okay, I say venti. I'm 33 and my partner's 39. Okay, sound like it's working out for you guys. DCSO cop. Hello, hello. New England says all I heard joining was I like high school girls. No, I mean when I was in high school, yeah, I liked high school girls back then. Can I do a report on you? Sure, go ahead. Red Desert says I went to the province and my wife is a Filipino, so my experience may be different than the others since locals showed me around. Yeah, 100%. I said this in my last live stream. It all comes down to basically who you're associating with in the Philippines. If you're with your wife, your girlfriend, your partner, and they show you around, your experience can be very different than mine. I'm out here living basically like a tourist long term. I may not know the local tricks and places and like it's a whole different world if you're traveling with a local, right? It makes an amazing difference in your whole overall experience. Because I know of men that came to the Philippines, stayed for 2 weeks, and said they'll never step foot here again because they saw YouTubers saying, "Oh, women will just give away their vaginas on a platter for you, or you can get any woman you want." And they came here expecting to meet women in 2 weeks and try their day game. Nobody said yes. They're hanging out in Cebu IT Park or Ayala Mall, and they're just like completely misled, and I don't know. So if you don't know the right person, hanging out in the Philippines can be a very different experience than knowing like your wife or someone that you trust, or even a local Filipino that shows you around. BJ says at least they didn't put your Coke in a plastic bag with a straw. But yeah, very petty about the can, especially considering that that's how it was sold to you. That's the thing that bothered me. It's not like I brought my Coke from home or a dollar store or something. The lady at the concession stand sold it to me because they ran out of cups or ice or whatever it was. So I'm like, hey, you sold it to me. That's not. Anyways, I'm not gonna go back into all that. Red Desert says, and not all of it's got good, but there are some. Of course, there's some tasty ones. 100% mangoes in the Philippines are still delicious, like brilliant, delicious. But I think if I had to compare it to Thailand, for me personally, from the things I ate, I still prefer Thai mangoes. But Philippine mangoes are like world famous. They have export like I don't know how much around the world. Even dried mangoes in Cebu are phenomenal. So when I say that, it's just like if I had to pick between the two. What the shit? Really? That's when everybody came in? Brandon also says, I was scrolling through YouTube shorts and all I heard was, I like high school girls. Too funny. I kept scrolling forward and then had to scroll back and ask, and I'm enjoying the live stream. Thank you. No, no, of course. That's a very unfortunate moment, I guess, in some way. Um, oh, somebody likes my beard. Thank you. Have a nice day, Bohiv. Bad Ape says, I'm 60 years old or young and love Filipino women, except my ex wife. Ha! That's very funny. Can of beans. Any of your family or friends back home say they want to come and visit? Or could your folks handle the Philippines flight and visit? Yeah, it's just easier for me to go to Canada than for my family to come all the way here. Considering the flight, the price, the number of people would have to come here, it's just too many. Yeah, and of course they're working and all that, so it's just easier for me to go back. BJ says, haha, you and the bag getting into the market in the vow. So here's another example, right? If you haven't seen the story or heard the story, I just told you guys about the can of Coke. Here's another example if you're new to the Philippines or just like me, that's sometimes gets stubborn. And, anyways, I was in Davao City. I was trying to go into a night market. And if you've never been to the Philippines, if you have a bag, when you're entering a market, a mall, or somewhere, they look inside your bag. Now, let's be honest, they barely look ever. You could hide whatever you want underneath. They will never actually look in your bag. They just glance and let you go through. Not a big deal. I had my sling bag with just my camera in it, and that's it. And my wallet, I think. And I was trying to go to a night market, which was about 4:30 p.m. It just opened up, so it was broad daylight actually, in Davao City, South in the Philippines. And there was four security guards at the entrance. Okay, safety, good stuff. The first one says hello to me. The second one looks in my bag, says good. So I'm walking in, and the last one is a woman. She says no. I'm like, huh? She's like, you have to go. You can't come in with that bag. I'm like, okay, but they just said yes to me, three of them. And she's like, no, sorry, you can't. You have to go deposit your bag in our office. So I'm like, okay, where's the office? Now, this was probably the biggest intersection that I've seen in Davao City. Four lanes each way. It's across the street to some random little hut that they had set up there. So you have to go over there and put it there. I'm like, why? This guy just said, yeah, and you saw it in my bag. There's nothing in there. It's just my wallet and my camera. She's like, no, you can't. I'm like, okay, well, next time maybe you should put. I'm like, I just said something like put a sign here so we know or something. I didn't even say that. I think the guy said to me there used to be a sign here, but the wind blew it. I'm like, okay, but they're like, okay, sir, you could put it in front of you and bring it in. I'm like, so this bag is okay in front of me, but it's not okay in my back. She's like, yeah. I'm like, this bag is okay in front of me, but not my back. Like, yeah, okay, that's it. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna walk around my bag in front of me like an idiot walking around like That's just stupid. If I'm that scared of my bag not to be robbed, I think the whole idea was like bomb threat because of course the Val had this horrible incident where bombings happened years back. But I'm like, so I can hide a bomb in my front, but not my back. So, anyways, the whole thing was just a mess. I'm like, you know what? Don't worry about your night market. I don't need it. So I walked away. So yeah, that's another incident. You're gonna have stuff like that happen all the time. Like I get it if you're just not gonna allow bags. Say don't bring your bags, fine, no problem. I get it if the first guy said, hey, don't bring your bag in here. Okay, no problem. I get it if the first guy said, hey man, if you put that in your front, you could come in, but you can't come in if it's on your back. I'm like, okay, sure. The first guy would have told me I would have chose to go in or not. But the way the whole thing went down was just didn't make any sense to me. So I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna go in your night market. So that was that. So Kendall Thorne says, "What's the best 24/7 gym in Cebu?" I got no idea. Excuse me, 24/7 gym, 24/7. Trying to think. I really don't know to be honest. We have a gym at the condo at Grand Residences, the one that I use sometimes, and at Avita Royala. It's like an outdoor two things that are rusty right now. Nobody uses. And gyms are super expensive. I think $60 or $80 if you just want 1 month membership in Cebu City. I say said there's no 24/7 gym here, so thank you for confirming that. Adam Kidd says the Thai villagers pick our mangoes for free. I don't mind. They are expensive for them. Hey, so you're in Thailand. Sorry, I thought it was the Philippines. Or you mean Thai people living in the Philippines. Adam Kidd, which country are you in right now? Oh, a note of Tokyo says the Thai villagers can pick our mangoes for free anytime. Red Desert says, yeah, for sure. I like it. Yeah, for sure. Like if I went to Boracay only, I would not super into the Philippines. But after spending majority of the time in the province, I enjoy that much more. Definitely, very big difference to province, Boracay, or touristy places and locals. Um, Vitamin Protein says, where are you from? I'm from Afghanistan, but I live in Canada. The Philippines is a go with the flow type of country. Have you plan B in case things don't go according to plan? Excellent point. Adam Kidd says, yeah, the Philippines, you got to have a backup plan. You can't rely on schedules. You can't rely on what you read online. You can't even rely on some things maybe you call ahead. You have to just kind of be flexible. Things can happen anytime. Red Desert says my earlier comment about not all is was good. Oh, I see what you mean. Not all as in the food, and not all as in the mangoes. Got you, got you. Bad Ape. I actually did a month subscription to the Aussie Tinder because it's son of a bitch about me going on Pino Love so much, and the woman on Tinder I was being matched had 1 foot in the grave. Wow. Yeah, Pino Love, Christian Filipino garbage. Pino Love is usually province girls and just girls looking for money. Tinder is usually prostitutes and transsexuals, transgenders. Is that what it is? So it's all, yeah. But I'm glad. I mean, at least in Australia, I don't know what's it like over there, but I'm talking about the Philippines. I say Venti says extra careful with too good to be true possibility. They are transgender. Exactly. Simple reminder from the Filipino. Yeah, for sure. I'm just reading the comments, guys. Sorry, give me a second. Uh, Somebody think condo gyms aren't 24/7 gyms. Nope. They're just from like to 10 p.m. maybe. Okay, Adam Kids in Thailand since 2013. Amazing. I love Thailand. I like to leave something nice for my wife if I die, William says. What would say is a good price per square meter for agricultural land in no name province? Man, I got no idea about any of that, so I'm so sorry I can't help you with that. Adam's been traveling since 93. My man, 30 years, 31 years traveling the world. Ramadan Mubarak. Ramadan started? Oh my God, I'm not a good Muslim. My bad. Okay, 53 Shades in Vegas till the 15th of April. Bad Ape says the Aussie Tinder was just so many ancient women, divorced or spinsters. Yeah, I mean, good luck trying to match with anyone remotely younger than you in Western countries. It's very difficult, right? Let's go 6 more minutes, 5 more minutes. We could do this. Why not? Let's do the 2 hours straight. If you've been watching this, we're only at 49 likes. Come on, give me one more like. I like round even numbers. Let's get that to 50. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Use the super chat, super stickers. Ask me questions if you can within the next 5 minutes. I'll try to read them. And that was our. Let me go ahead and read my next points, and we'll finish off this video about big age gaps in the Philippines. Pro number 6, independence. Each partner may have more space to pursue individual interests. Yeah, of course, if there's a big age gap, a girl might want to go to her yoga class. The guy's not going to want to go, so she has a little bit more independence. I mean, that can lead to problems too, but I'm saying the fact that you can be more independent if you have an age gap that's so big is a pro for many people. Number 6, con, financial disparities, economic discrepancies between partners. Yeah, of course, if you're 65, 70 years old, you probably have a lot more money than your 20-year-old. She hasn't had a chance to go ahead and earn that money, get that career going, start that business yet. So there's going to be a discrepancy between your earnings and her earnings, big time. Number 8, complementary skills. What does that mean? I don't know why I wrote that. And of course, emotional maturity. It's a big, big difference when it comes to an older gentleman and a younger man. An older guy is probably well in control of his emotions. He's been experiencing many things in his life. He knows how to control his emotions, typically speaking, compared to a 20-year-old, 25-year-old woman who's still, exploring and learning things and feeling things for the first time. So, yeah. Let's see. Steve C says, how many days would you recommend I travel if I went to stay 7 days in the Philippines? Would you stay first in Manila or Cebu? I would not stay in Manila. Just skip Manila if you can, personally. I'll stay there maybe one day. For me, and only having 7 days is the key. I would not stay in Manila more than a single day. And then I'll go to Cebu and explore different islands in Cebu City itself. So yeah, I'll skip Manila completely. Bad Ape says, I've met some nice ladies on Pina Love. It's not totally full of scammers. Well, depends on what you mean by nice. Nice greetings, nice for a week or two, nice for a month. If you met a nice lady, then you would have been in a relationship with her, and that'd be it, right? So if you met a few of them already, by mathematically speaking, some of them may not have been nice. Then it's okay to say hi to people, to say hello. Of course, they're gonna be nice up until the point to ask for money or try to scam you, or you meet them. You're meeting people. Everybody's nice at that point, right? BJ says, I've spent more time in Business Park, Ayala, than IT Park. Does IT Park have a lot of lizards like Ayala? Lizard? Huh? Lizards? What does that mean? Like old ladies? Old men? Or are you talking about actual lizards? I have no idea. But yeah, the main Ayala is in Business Park, so I spent more time there just for my interviews. But they both have good things to offer. Fuck Google, says Filipino Cupid. I've had success. That's great. I love your chat, mate, says Bad Ape. Thank you. Ryan said they're just robbing men every day. Don't let them rob you. That's all you got to do. I met my partner on Tinder. Excellent. So how many big age gaps do you see every day in Cebu? A lot. It's rare to see someone that's not in an age gap. So it's like you'd have to ask me how many do I see that they are closer to age than the other way around. I see one or two maybe relationships where they seem relatively close to their own age, where I see about 10 to 20 the opposite with big age gaps a day walking around. Yeah, get straight to Cebu. Excellent. And Kendall Thorne said, what's wrong with Manila? What's wrong with it? Nothing. But if you have 7 days, the thing that's wrong with Manila, it doesn't offer you as many good things in 7 days as Cebu does. It's too much traffic, too many people, too modern, too expensive, too much pollution. not easy to get around. You just, it's a waste of time when you consider 7 days, I think, in my opinion. Red Desert, I agree about Manila. It's a nightmare there, in my opinion. Uh, the second existed the second I exited the airport, the scam attempt started, and even with the Filipino. Yeah, and also not to mention the taxi drivers all scam you in Manila, where in Cebu it's a lot less. Oh, lot lizards, prostitutes. Yeah, not in IT Park. It's all they're mostly in Business Park, Ayala. Bad Ape says, I'm so choosy. I haven't. Yeah, so at this stage, they're all going to be good. Bad Ape. Wait till you find like a proper one and see how that goes. Didn't see older Filipino men with young girls. Not a single one. Yes, hookers in truck parking lots equals lot lizards. Oh, I had no idea. A lot lizard is a prostitute at a truck stop. I've seen a few at Ayala. Yeah, in Ayala Mall, they're everywhere. I know like five or six of them like regularly. But like we know each other now. Like, oh, she looks at me, I look at them. Okay, we know what's up because I see what she's doing every day. Because I go there for my interviews, right? Hello, Adrian. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. We still got 120 people watching this, but I'm sorry I gotta go. I've been doing this for 2 hours. My throat, my mouth drying up. The energy levels dipping. People saying I look ugly and tired. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. You know, it's good for the confidence. You know, uh, and that's it. So I want to appreciate all of you guys for watching, liking, commenting, and I really want to thank, of course, let me go ahead and super chat here. Journey Trials and Joy for the $5 super thanks. Much appreciate that. And then I'll see you guys in the next video tomorrow. Bye.